My name is Jordan Hayes. I am 38 years old, a captain in the United States Army, and today I am standing alone at my father's funeral. I am wearing my dress blues, pressed sharp enough to cut, medals aligned with regulation precision. My back is straight, my chin level, my expression unreadable. Inside my chest, though, something is splintering apart, quietly, violently, the way buildings collapse during controlled demolitions. From the outside, I look unbreakable. From the inside, I am barely holding formation. The rain in Ohio falls lightly, almost polite, a thin gray veil soaking into the grass and staining the toes of my polished shoes with mud. The bugle begins to play taps, and that sound, sacred to every military family, slices through the cemetery like a blade. This is the moment when people are supposed to lower their heads. This is the moment of respect. But respect has never been my sister's strength. I hear her before I see her. The sharp click of stilettos on wet stone. Vanessa steps beside me, close enough that her perfume invades my lungs. Designer black dress, plunging neckline, perfect makeup untouched by grief. She doesn't look at my father's casket. She scans the crowd, making sure eyes are on her. Then she leans in, lips brushing my ear, her voice sweet and poisonous. "Poor Jordan," she whispers. "You look so stiff in that uniform. No wonder Ethan chose my softness instead." She smiles and adds, "He said holding you felt like hugging a fence post." She glances across the cemetery. Ethan, my ex-fiancé, is signing the guest book with exaggerated confidence, twirling a glossy black Mont Blanc pen like it's a trophy. He looks like he owns the place. Like this funeral is another networking opportunity. They both think I'm still the failure who disappeared 4 years ago. They have no idea that the man sitting in the armored SUV down the street could end their entire lives with a phone call. I don't respond. Soldiers don't react to bait. I stare forward, eyes fixed on the horizon, jaw locked. Vanessa mistakes my silence for weakness. She always has. 38 years old, she continues softly, performing concern for anyone watching. No husband. No children. Just cold metal on your chest. Dad must have been heartbroken. Her hand brushes my sleeve like she's dusting something dirty away. You were born to suffer, Jordan. Men want warmth, not command. Every word lands exactly where she intends. But I don't flinch. I recite Psalm 23 in my head, each line a shield. I will not break here. Not today. Then Ethan approaches, adjusting his silk tie, rain beating uselessly on his rented Mercedes behind him. He's heavier now, softer, wearing success like a costume purchased on credit. "Jordan," he says, offering pity instead of condolences. "Still stationed up in Washington? Middle of nowhere, right? If you'd learned to be more flexible back then, maybe you'd be standing where Vanessa is now." He links his arm with hers. They pose. The perfect couple. And the crowd reacts exactly how they want. My relatives drift toward them, whispering admiration, admiring Vanessa's ring, a stone big enough to blind reason. "She did so well," someone murmurs. They don't see the debt behind the diamond. They see flash. Americans love flash. I stand alone beside my father's casket, rain soaking into my gloves, anger burning through my veins like acid. I was the one who paid his medical bills. I was the one wiring money home every month. They sent flowers. And now they're being praised. When Ethan walks back to the guest book and lifts that pen, something inside me snaps backward in time. That pen isn't just a pen. It's a trigger. 4 years ago, I was a first lieutenant, exhausted and hopeful, driving straight from the field to his office with Thai food on the passenger seat. I hadn't showered. My boots were muddy. I thought love didn't require perfection. I was wrong. 10 feet from his office door, I smelled gardenia. Vanessa's scent. I heard laughter. His voice. "Jordan's dry as cardboard," he said. "She doesn't know passion." I opened the door. I saw them on the leather couch. My camouflage jacket was draped over her shoulders, my name stitched across her chest like a joke. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I took off the ring, placed it on the table, and walked away. That was the day the old Jordan died. I drove west like I was escaping a war zone. I transferred to Joint Base Lewis McChord. I lived in a studio that smelled like mold and regret. I ate ramen on the floor. I watched Vanessa post vacation photos while I counted quarters. And slowly, the gaslighting worked. Maybe I was unlovable. Maybe I was too hard. Until a woman named Ruth stopped me in a parking lot and said, "You look like you're carrying too much." She dragged me to a bar, handed me a therapist's card, and saved my life without realizing it. Dr. Patel taught me something simple. Strength is not the absence of softness. It's the discipline to survive without applause. I ran in the rain. I trained. I healed. I stopped chasing approval. I built a career managing defense logistics worth millions. And somewhere along the way, I met a man who didn't ask me to shrink. His name is Michael Carter. And today, he is on his way. As the funeral ends, everyone returns to my parents' house. Vanessa turns the wake into a cocktail party. Ethan brags. Then they make their final mistake. Vanessa announces I should quit the army and come work for Ethan as his assistant. The room laughs. I remove my gloves slowly. "I can't," I say calmly. "My husband wouldn't approve of me working for a company about to declare bankruptcy." They laugh again. Until the doorbell rings. And this time, karma doesn't whisper. It knocks. The laughter in the living room lingers for a few seconds after I mention bankruptcy. It's sharp, mocking, and loud enough to drown out the quiet grief that should still be hanging in the house. Vanessa throws her head back, clutching her wine glass like she's just heard the best joke of the year. Ethan shakes his head slowly, that familiar look of manufactured concern plastered on his face. "Jordan," he says, lowering his voice theatrically, "this isn't healthy. Making up husbands now? That's not confidence. That's desperation." The guests nod. Someone mutters, "Poor thing." Another sips their drink and avoids my eyes. In their version of reality, a woman like me doesn't get a happy ending. Not without permission. Then the doorbell rings. It isn't a polite chime. It's firm. Authoritative. The kind of sound that doesn't ask if it's welcome. Vanessa sighs in irritation. Ugh. Probably the caterer again. "Jordan, get it." She waves a dismissive hand at me like I'm staff. I don't argue. I rise slowly, smoothing my uniform, feeling something electric coil in my chest. This is the moment before air support arrives. I walk to the door with measured steps, each one steadier than the last. When I open it, the gray Ohio light spills into the hallway, framing a tall silhouette in a dark tailored coat. Michael Carter steps inside. The temperature in the room changes instantly. He doesn't rush. He doesn't scan the room. He walks straight to me, ignoring every stunned face, and hands me a bouquet of white tulips. "I'm sorry I'm late, Captain," he says calmly. "Flight delay." He kisses my forehead, gentle and unhurried. I heard the service was beautiful. Silence slams down like a dropped plate. Vanessa's smile freezes. Her eyes flick from Michael's coat to his watch to the quiet confidence in his posture. Ethan's face drains of color as recognition dawns slowly, painfully. He knows that face. He's seen it in boardrooms and rejection emails. Mr. Carter, he stammers. CEO of Carter Defense Solutions? Michael turns to him with mild curiosity. Ethan Mitchell, he says. I was wondering when I'd see you again. He pauses just long enough to let the tension build. I assume you've been busy explaining your financial discrepancies to the IRS agents auditing your company right now. The room gasps. A glass slips from Vanessa's hand and shatters on the floor, red wine spreading like a stain no one can scrub away. Ethan's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. That's confidential, he manages weakly. Michael smiles politely. Not when federal contracts are involved. He slips an arm around my waist, grounding, steady. Jordan mentioned you were having cash flow issues. I didn't realize it was this bad. Vanessa finally finds her voice. Who are you? She demands, though her tone wavers. Why are you here? Michael looks at her now, eyes cool, assessing. I'm here to take my wife home, he says simply. She's had a long day. The word wife lands like a detonation. Vanessa laughs, shrill and panicked. Your wife? She points at me. This? Her laughter cracks. You must be joking. I don't joke about marriage, Michael replies evenly. He lifts my hand gently, displaying the sapphire ring that catches the light. We've been married for 2 years. Ethan staggers back a step, as if physically struck. No, he whispers. That's impossible. Is it? Michael asks. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you lost the best thing that ever happened to you. He turns to the room. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this gathering has gone on long enough. My wife needs privacy to grieve. No one argues. Chairs scrape. Coats are grabbed. The admiration evaporates as fast as it appeared. Within minutes, the room empties, leaving behind broken glass, spilled wine, and 2 people staring at the ruins of their carefully curated illusion. Vanessa collapses onto the couch, shaking. Ethan, she whispers. Tell me he's lying. Ethan doesn't answer. His phone buzzes on the table. Then again. Michael glances at it. You might want to take that, he says lightly. Foreclosure departments are persistent. Ethan answers on speaker without meaning to. The voice on the other end is crisp, merciless. Mr. Mitchell, this is your final notice. Foreclosure proceedings begin tomorrow. Vanessa screams. She turns on Ethan, hitting his chest, sobbing. You said we were rich. You said that ring was real. She yanks it off her finger and throws it at him. It skids across the floor, cheap and hollow. Michael watches without satisfaction. Just confirmation. Ethan drops to his knees in front of me. Jordan, he begs, tears streaking his face. Please. Talk to him. I made a mistake. We were family. I step back. You stopped being my family when you lied, cheated, and stood at my father's funeral pretending to be generous. My voice doesn't shake. This is your consequence. Michael squeezes my hand. Ready? He asks softly. I nod. We leave them there, collapsing under the weight of their own choices. Outside, the rain has stopped. The night air feels clean. As we walk toward the waiting car, I realize something profound. I didn't need revenge. I needed truth. And truth always arrives on time. The drive away from my parents' house is silent. Ohio slips past the tinted windows in shades of gray and amber, familiar streets dissolving into distance. Michael's hand rests over mine, warm, steady, real. For the first time in years, my chest doesn't feel tight. The war is over. Not because I destroyed my enemies, but because I finally stopped fighting myself. We don't talk on the way to the hotel. We don't need to. Some moments are too heavy for words. That night, I stand under a hot shower, watching the water run over my hands, over the faint scar on my wrist, over the ring that glints softly when I move. I think about everything that brought me here. The ramen nights. The rain-soaked runs. The therapy sessions where I finally said out loud that I felt unlovable. And I realized something quietly powerful. None of it was wasted. Every mile I ran away from my old life was actually carrying me toward this one. The next morning, sunlight breaks through the clouds. Ohio looks different in daylight. Less threatening. Less heavy. We return to my parents' house one last time to collect my things. The house is quiet now. No laughter. No perfume. Just echoes. In my father's study, I find his old journal tucked beneath a stack of unpaid medical statements. My hands tremble as I open it. The last entry is dated 3 weeks before he passed. I know Jordan is struggling, he wrote. She doesn't complain, but I hear the weight in her voice. She chose honor over comfort, and it cost her dearly. Vanessa wants admiration. Jordan wants meaning. I am proud of my soldier. I hope one day she knows that. The tears come then. Not the sharp ones. The healing kind. Michael doesn't interrupt. He simply stands behind me and lets me lean back into him. In that moment, I understand something I never did before. I was never invisible. I was just quiet in a world addicted to noise. 2 weeks later, back in Washington, life resumes. Early mornings. Briefings. Logistics meetings that decide where resources go and who gets protected. My job is demanding, relentless, and meaningful. And this time, when I walk into rooms full of men twice my age, I don't shrink. I don't apologize for taking up space. I speak clearly. I am listened to. The news about Ethan spreads quickly. Contracts pulled. Credit lines frozen. Lawsuits stacking up. Vanessa leaves town quietly. No farewell posts. No glamorous exits. Just silence. I don't celebrate it. I don't need to. Karma doesn't require witnesses. One afternoon, my phone vibrates with a message I don't expect. It's from Vanessa. No greeting. No apology. Just a request. She asks for money. Says she has nowhere to go. Says family helps family. I stare at the screen for a long time. 4 years ago, I would have sent it. I would have tried to buy peace. This time, I don't respond. I block the number. It isn't cruelty. It's boundaries. And boundaries are a form of self-respect I learned the hard way. That evening, Michael and I plant white tulips in our backyard. The soil is damp. The air smells like pine and rain. My knees get muddy. I don't care. As I press the bulbs into the earth, I think about forgiveness. Not forgiving them. Forgiving myself. For staying too long. For doubting my worth. For believing strength made me unlovable. Spring arrives quietly. The tulips bloom exactly when they're meant to. Strong. Upright. Unapologetic. I stand in front of the mirror one morning, adjusting my uniform, running a finger over my ribbons. Each one tells a story of endurance. I apply a deep burgundy lipstick, bold and intentional. This isn't armor. It's acknowledgement. Of who I am. Of what I survived. I used to think revenge meant watching someone else fall. I was wrong. The best revenge is building a life so full that the past no longer fits inside it. I didn't win because Ethan lost his money. I won because I stopped letting people who never valued me decide my future. If you're watching this and you feel like the black sheep of your family. If your sacrifices have been ignored. If someone convinced you that your strength was a flaw. Hear me when I say this. Your value does not decrease because someone failed to recognize it. You don't need to become smaller to be loved. You need to become truer. My name is Jordan Hayes. I was betrayed. I was underestimated. And I survived. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But deliberately. If this story resonated with you, I want you to do 3 things. First, share your experience in the comments. This channel is a space for people who've been through it and came out stronger. Second, if you believe that real revenge is massive success and self-respect, hit the like button. It helps stories like this reach people who need them. And finally, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because this isn't just a story. It's a reminder. You are not alone. And the dawn always comes.